right? So we configured the WordPress server, and then we were able to see how the endpoint actually appears through, right? So if I go to AWS training 2017.tk, I was able to see through everything, but I have destroyed that instance. Yesterday, I just wanted to show you what is that each command does in the Bootstrap script. Today, I'm just straight away going to launch that instance, and then again, we are going to reconfigure it. So that part, we are going to review it. So let me open up the steps here. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the EC2 instance and associate with the role, and then quickly put up this Bootstrap script. And we are again going to configure the WordPress website in a very short period of time. So let's quickly do it. I'll just go down to the running instances. So click on launch instance, pick up the Amazon Linux AMI, T2 micro, in this case, we are going to select the AWS training as a VPC. It's going to be part of 1.0 subnet. Enable the public IP setting and the role we have used. I'm going to select through, and I'm going to go ahead and put across the Bootstrap script. But before we go ahead and put the Bootstrap script, the first thing I'm going to do in here is this httpd.conf file is something that I need to upload it to one of the S3 bucket, and I need to copy that specific path. So let me go down to the services, S3. So in one of these buckets, I'll just go ahead and quickly update it. So I'll make use of this backup bucket. We will make use of the AWS training bucket itself. So I'm going to go ahead and upload the object. So I'll quickly go down to the E drive, WordPress course, materials, from the project. I'm going to upload this http.conf file. I'll also upload the other one, that is htaccess, which is again required today, the part of today's tab. So there we have it. All I have to do is I'm just going to make them public. So just go and find httpd. Okay, so here's the file. I'm just going to go ahead and make it as public. And next, I'm going to find the file with htaccess. I'm also going to make this to be publicly available. So there we go. So we have made both the files public successfully. All I have to do is first I'll go and get the path of httpd.conf. So this is the path we can directly pick up, and that is something I'm going to go ahead and add to wget utility here. Okay, so we have done it. So let's go ahead and copy this script completely, and we'll see that everything will be automatically run with the help of Bootstrap script. I'm just going to put in a new notepad first. So I hope you all know what's there in the bootstrap. So we have actually executed yesterday by doing each and every command. So I'm not explaining this here again. So we are going to go to the next storage part, and then with the root device volume of 8 GB in size, we are going to go ahead and add the tags. Say this WordPress configuration. So I'll just say WordPress conf, and then quickly go ahead and put it behind the web server security group. And then go ahead and launch using one of the key pair that we already have it. So this is just going to take a few minutes from here because it has to execute a huge bootstrap script. So maybe 2 to 3 minutes and it should be done. So let's wait for the instance to come up in the running mode. Okay, let's quickly copy up the IP address and let's check through if there is something. Yeah, so it is all done. So we are now able to see that the PHP page is being displayed. So we are all set to go for this specific part, but only one thing we need to do is there is some file with the name wp-config.php. Remember that we need to create it. So I'll just go ahead and open up the terminal as well in the meantime. And also we'll open up the RDS because we need to copy the certain details from the RDS, the host name, user ID, password, other things we need to input. So we are going to use AWS training 2017.tk, but this is not going to work at this point of time because we need to map this EC2 instance with the load balancer. So I'll go back to the load balancer first. So sometimes the IP address keeps changing. Remember the security group actually I have given that it should be able to be accessible for this EC2 instance from my IP address. Right? So sometimes it may have an issue. So let me update the IP address here. So all I have to do is just go down, say anywhere, and then just say custom, or just say my IP. Yeah, so IP address has changed. So now if I say restart, there we go. It is asking to verify key fingerprint. I'll say EC2 users the username, and then quickly go ahead and elevate the privileges. So there we are. So I'll quickly go down to the var www/html and say ls. You will be able to see the complete contents here. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the instance to the load balancer first. So I'll go down to the load balancer, go down to the instance section, add the instance back. So we have added successfully. Let me check if it is in service now. Yes, so it is working fine. Now our domain should be working. Yes. So let's quickly go ahead and configure our WordPress again, like the way we did yesterday. So the database name that we are using is, it should be AWS Project 2018. Let me reconfirm. Yes, it's AWS Project 2018. And this I'll just copy the endpoint. So at the last, just put 3306, which is the port number, and then just go and say submit. And we are going to completely copy this file section. And then let's go to the installation. The site title is going to be registered in 2018. Username, I'm just going to give AWS Project 2018. So let's go quickly log in into the server and make some changes. I'm going to go make the changes to the post. Edit this. So instead of hello world, I'm going to just say hello AWS. Let's see first what content is being displayed. Okay, it has updated it. I'll just put some small text here and then just go and update this. We'll also add some media file like the way we did yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the add new and then just select the file, and then we'll go down to our pictures and then I'll go select one of them. So I'll select this Ganesha image. One second, let me check if it has uploaded. sometimes there is a problem with the way we upload it. So in this upload, at least you can see the progress on the left hand side at the bottom. So you can see that 58% is uploaded, 65, 68, 74. There we go. We now have the image as well. So I'm just going back to the post. Okay, so we have updated it. So I'll quickly go and refresh this page to see through. So there we go. Right, so all the things are now updated, and we also know from where the images are actually coming through. So let's get started with the point of project that we left yesterday at. So we have able to do all these things. Now the first thing I'm going to help you check out is where these images come from, right? So we yesterday checked that there is a directory with the name wp-content, and then we have the uploads folder from which these images are actually loading it up. So let's check it out. So if I right click on this image and then say open the image in new tab, you can see the path here as well, right? So it says it is coming from the server AWS training 2017.tk, inside which there is a path with the wp-content and then the uploads and then the 2018 and then the 01 and then the image, right? So it is actually coming from that specific path. Now we don't want that the images to be rendered from server. We want to get it from the CloudFront distribution. So how can we do it? There is a part of the thing that we're going to achieve in this session. Let's get through. So I'm going to first go ahead and automate the media files. So remember, we have actually created a bucket for the media files. That is WordPress website media AWS training 2018. So first thing is I have to get started by moving all the images from this wp-content/uploads folder. I have to go ahead and send it across to this specific bucket, because this bucket is the origin for the CloudFront distribution. So for that bucket to get all the items, first we need to send them from the S3 bucket from our EC2 instance. So how can we do it? It is the same command like the way we used to transfer the code. So I'm going to go ahead inside the console here and then say AWS S3 CP, and here I'm going to go ahead and copy the contents from our www/html/wp-content from here, from uploads, right? So inside the uploads, I'm going to make a copy of everything. Right, so we are going to go ahead and copy it to one of our buckets in the S3. So what is the name of our bucket? So I'll just get it from here. Okay, so I have copied the name of bucket /nj. First, we are going to do the dry run minus recursive and then say minus dry run. So there we go. It says that there's one image that needs to get uploaded and it is going to be picked up from here, right? So let's go ahead and remove dry run and then again rerun this command. So there we go. We have successfully been able to upload the content. So let's check it out in the S3 bucket whether we have it or not now. So I'll go inside this bucket of media and then refresh the screen. And we are now able to see that there's something called as 2018 inside which I have 01, inside which I have got the image, right? So successfully we have got the image here. So let's pick to the next step. Now we are going to add some more files to our WordPress website, and then we'll see that the wp-content uploads directory is going to get all of them, right? So we have to now keep on syncing this. So we cannot run this copy command every time. So there is something that we are going to make use of that is called as sync command. So let's see how it is going to work. So I'm going to go back to the media again and then upload a few more files in this case. In this case, I am just going to upload, maybe let's say this peacock. Let's add some more files in this case. I'm going to go ahead and say choose the file. I'll also add this walker.jpg. Let's go back and check out in this case what is available in this uploads 2018-01 folder. So we should see that there are a few more images, right? So there it is, peacock.jpg and walker.jpg are the couple of new images. Now I'm going to send them also to the S3 bucket, right? Let's go ahead and do it here. So I'm going to make use of this command again, but every time running the CP would not give me a sense. So what can we do in this situation? So I'm going to go ahead and make it as sync, right? So it is going to always ensure that the source, which is my EC2 instance, is always in sync with the S3 bucket. So I'm going to make use of the command AWS S3 and then say sync. So I'm going to go and pick up this path, and this path I'm trying to sync it with my S3 bucket, right? So that is the same command that I have written here. So that's, I have also given one more parameter called as --delete. So we are going to learn about it in the next few minutes. First, we'll just run this sync command and see what happens in this case. Okay, so when I'm giving the sync, I don't need to give the recursive in this case here. Automatically the things will be taken care. There we go. So both the images automatically got uploaded, right? So now let's say someone would have deleted this walker.jpg, or let's say peacock.jpg has been removed. Right now there are only two images, and let's say one more new image is got uploaded here in this case. So we're just trying to play around and set up the exact commands so that we don't have to do the copy every time, right? So we are anyway going to automate that, but currently we are just checking out what can be the next command, that next level command that we can use it, that is sync, right? Now if I go and say ls, you can see that there's a new file with the name untitled.png. Earlier it was peacock.jpg, which is now clearly removed off. But if I go to the S3 bucket, in this case the S3 bucket has still got peacock.jpg. Let me refresh it. Yeah. So now when I'm going to run the same command of sync, in which I'm going to pass the parameter --delete, means So whatever is getting deleted at source also should get deleted at destination. So both should be in sync, right? It should not be like it should only keep copying all the things from the uploads directory to the S3 bucket, but it should also ensure that whatever is getting deleted in the uploads directory, it should also get deleted at the S3 bucket. So let me show you with the dry run first what is going to happen. So it says it is going to delete one file from the S3 bucket and is going to upload one new file, right? And the peacock.jpg is something that is going to get deleted, and the untitled.png is something that is going to get inserted into the S3 bucket. So let's run it without dry run now and check it out. Right, so there we go. We are now able to push it. So if I go and refresh it, we should see that the peacock.jpg should have moved off, and we have got the new file with the name untitled.png. So with this sync command, we are going to play around and set up a cron tab job. Cron tab job is nothing but in order to ensure that we don't have to run this command every time. Automatically the system is going to schedule it for every 2 minutes, and then it's going to run this job, and it is automatically going to pick up all the images from this uploads directory to this S3 bucket, right? So it is going to do it automatically. So we are going to set up the cron tab job at step number 8, but before that, now the step number 5 to 7 are really important, where we are going to ensure that all the media content which is currently being in this WordPress website is delivered from my CloudFront distribution and not from my server. So let me show you how we can confirm whether it's coming from the server or not. So all I have to do is, whenever you open this website, just right click on the image and say open it in the new tab, and then you will be able to see that the URL appears something like this: name of the server, and then says wp-content/upload/2018/01, and then the image name. So this is clearly showing that this is actually coming from the server at this point of time. So what I'm going to do is, currently I'm just going to first go ahead and add it in the post. I'm going to also add a few more images. Right, so I'll just quickly go ahead and say update. So there we go. So if I refresh this page, you should now be able to see 3 images, and all 3 are basically delivered from my server itself. So if I go ahead and say open the image in new tab, you will be able to see that this is actually coming from this specific path. So now let's go ahead and find out how we can actually ensure that the delivery is happening from my CloudFront distribution and not from my web server. So for that, there is something called as htaccess. There is one file with the name htaccess, which I need to place it inside this var www/html folder. Since my Apache web server tries to pick up the content from this location, I am going to place this htaccess file in that specific location, that is var www.html. So let's quickly go ahead and try to download the file first. So we have the file, remember we have kept it in the S3 bucket. So I'm quickly going to first get the URL for the same and download it. So I'll copy this URL. Go back to my server in this case. So I'll just say wget. So it has now downloaded that file. So, oh sorry, I have downloaded that wrong location. So we have downloaded it in the 01 folder. So I'll just remove it. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and get that file now here. Okay, so if I say ls, I'm now able to see that there's a file with the name htaccess. However, we actually need it with the name .htaccess. So I'm going to rename it. Yeah, so now it is now become a part of hidden file. So if I say now ls minus a, you will be able to see that that .ht access file does exist here, right? So let me first go ahead and clear the screen, and now let me show you what is the content inside the .ht access. So I'll say nano.ht access. So this is the content. So what we're trying to do here, we are trying to rewrite the engine, right? So we are trying to say that there's one engine called rewrite engine which is going to be switched on. And what is this rewrite engine trying to do? So anything that is going to come from wp-content slash uploads folder, and whatever may be the path. So today it is year 2018 and the month is January, so it comes with 2018-01. Tomorrow when we are in February, it will become 2018-02, and all the images will go into that specific folder. It doesn't matter which path it is going to create after that. So whatever contents are going to come inside this uploads directory. So I'm going to go ahead, pick up everything, and then I'm going to make use of this CloudFront URL from where the actual rendering should happen. Now all we have to do here is, in this case, I'll have to make the changes in the CloudFront endpoint. So I'm going to remove this. So let's go down to the CloudFront and get our URL. So I'll click on services, go to the CloudFront. Okay, so this is the something that URL for the AWS website media AWS in 2019. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this first part from here and replace it, and then just go ahead and save this file. So nothing much to do in this case here. So we have successfully saved the file. So now the next thing that we have to do is, once we have updated the file, I just need to go ahead and restart the Apache server. So there it is, step number 6. It says restart your HTTPD service. So it is very simple. I just need to say service HTTPD restart, or I can also say first service HTTPD stop, and then start, or I can also say service HTTPD restart. Both the cases will work in this case. Now once we have done that, now let's go down to our WordPress website and check out if the WordPress images are served from CloudFront or not. So let's check it out, what happens with this case. So I'll close these things. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and refresh our web page. There we go. It is again working fine. Let me open up some of the image and let's click on this and say open the image in new tab. So now you see it is actually being delivered from the CloudFront. So even if I try hard, so let's go and say copy the image address and then put it here and then say this one. Currently it is showing AWS 10.2017.tk slash wp-content slash upload slash 2018-01 DSC. But you see, the moment I click enter, it is actually going to get it from my CloudFront distribution, right? So this is the way we are actually going to deliver all the images from the CloudFront distribution instead of delivering it from my actual web server. Right? Same is the case that will happen here in this case. So you will see that automatically the images are now being delivered from CloudFront distributions. In case if you want to check it out, I'll just paste up this URL of AWS 2017.tk in the chat box. You guys may also want to give it a try and check out from where the image is actually getting delivered. So does it work for you, Rahul, as well? Okay, so next, what we are going to do here is, so we have done all the things. Now what we're trying to do is we'll just go ahead and try to upload some media file and see how much time does it take for the WordPress server to get through, right? So thumbnails will take a lot of time to get regenerated. We'll see that. So I'll just go back to the admin panel of this WordPress. I'll close this sections. So this is my admin panel. Go back to the media file, and I'll go to go and add say new one. So even if I add the new file, you will see that it is going to take a little while for the image to get uploaded. So I'll try to now upload the peacock image back, and then just say upload. So you will see here the percentage of 100% that it's been uploaded, but you will see that the thumbnail will get generated only after some time, right? So image got uploaded, but if you see currently we are unable to check through the image thumbnail. This is because it will first go towards the S3 bucket, and the S3 bucket will render it to the CloudFront distribution, and then only this specific thumbnail will get generated. Now again we'll have to run that sync job, but running that sync job is again a pain, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to set up a cron tab job which is going to automatically sync the things for me, right? So I don't have to run them every time. So I'm going to put across a scheduler saying that for every 2 minutes I'm going to run this job. So where can we find this cron tab? So it will be under this /etc directory. So let's go down to their specific path. So I'll say /etc. So inside this, if I say ls, you'll be able to see there are a lot of files. Inside this, I have something called as cron tab. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that. So I'll say nano cron tab. So currently we do not have any specific things to be done here. So I'll just quickly go ahead and add a couple of them. So what I'm going to do is first, we are going to make the sync for the code. Remember, we also need to back up the code every time, and then we also need to back up all the images to the media bucket. So we are going to set up both the commands. So for every 2 minutes, I'm going to run this command as a root user, and I'm going to go ahead and sync my S3 bucket first with my HTML directory. Right, so first we'll go ahead and pick up the name of the bucket, that is website code. Right, so it is first going to ensure that all the contents are being copied. So the entire HTML, remember yesterday we saw one real-time failover scenario. So if someone really deletes off your complete HTML folder itself, how are we going to recover it back? It will be always available in this WordPress website code AWS training 2019 bucket, right? So I'm always going to ensure that at every 2 minutes, I'm going to send across all the contents from my HTML directory towards this bucket, which is with the for the code, so that in case anything wrong happens, I can always recover it back. Right. So that is the first thing. And next, I'm going to set up one more command. Again, this is also going to run for every 2 minutes. As a root user, again, I'm going to use AWS S3 sync, and this time it is going to be var. Then this is going to be WPF and content / uploads, and this time is going to be for one other S3 bucket. Let me get the name. Since the names are much longer, so I'm just trying to copy them. So okay, so we have got this. Okay, and in this, I'm at the end, I'm just going to ensure that I am putting -- delete, so that in case if any deletes are happening on the source, that should also reflect into the Yeah, I should also put the minus minus delete for the other one as well. So you can either put the minus minus delete at the last or maybe during the first part itself. That should be fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this, Control X, Y, and then enter. So now we'll see that automatically within the next 2 minutes, the image that we just uploaded, remember this peacock.jpg, it should now start appearing in this bucket after 2 minutes. So that is a confirmation saying that our cron tab job has run successfully. So we'll wait for the next 2 minutes while the job gets executed. So there we go. It has already received it. So peacock.jpg has been now available. So now you see that this is going to generate a thumbnail in little while. I'll just refresh this page again. So it's going to take a little while because just now the image got uploaded to the S3 bucket. It is going to input across all the edge locations, and then automatically this peacock.jpg image thumbnail will start appearing here. So there we go. We have now received the thumbnail for the peacock image. So we have now successfully been able to set across everything, right? So we wanted to transfer or backup our code. We also wanted to backup all our images and ensure that we actually render it from our CloudFront distribution. So all these things are done. So we have also set up a cron tab job, which is automatically taking care of all these things. At every 2 minutes, it's trying to sync across. Now, what is the next step? Remember the AWS project PPT, where we are next going to put across, we have to actually go ahead and create an AMI, right? So once I have the AMI, I'm going to put it behind the auto scaling group. So what will happen with that? So once I put it behind the auto scaling group, now whenever there is a huge load that is coming onto my system, automatically it is going to add up a new instance. Now whenever the new instance is going to add up, as is going to be added up by the auto scaling group, so what will happen in that case? Okay, for now we have prepared a one instance. Now let's say we have created a new auto scaling group, but that auto scaling group will actually require a launch configuration in which we have to mention the AMI. And whenever the load is going to increase, it is automatically going to add up a new system in this case here, right? So if it adds up a new system, it should be as same as the configuration that is been with the first system, right? So how do we ensure that both the systems are matching with the same configuration? So let's do it now. So first thing is I'm going to go ahead and create an AMI so that I don't have to do all these steps again and again, right? Running this bootstrap script entirely and then trying to set up these permissions and then trying to create this htaccess file in which again I have to make some changes, then set up the cron tab job. No, we don't have to do anything all this. I just need to pick up the image of the currently running machine, and all these things are already available for me as a pre-configured things. So we are ready to create the AMI. So quickly I'll just close this admin panel, and so as this I'll go back to my EC2 console towards the EC2 instances. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on actions and then just say image and say create image. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be my WordPress AMI. And remember there is an option called as no reboot, which means the image will be taken up and the system will not be rebooted, right? But if you go ahead and select that specific option, Amazon will never guarantee about the kind of image that is going to be prepared with this, right? So always remember, whenever you have to take an image of any specific machine, you have to first shut it down, or you have to close all the IOPS, that is input output operations happening on that, and then only you will be able to take it. So in order to stop the input output operations, the best thing is to shut it down and then take the image. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll just go ahead and click on create image. So it says that automatically system is going down. You see here it says the system is automatically going down for now, right? So automatically the system goes down and the image gets created and automatically will be back. Okay, so the image will take a little while. Let's go down to the AMI and let's check it out. Okay, so there we go. The AMI is now available. So what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to go ahead and destroy the currently running instance. So we don't need it anymore. So I'll just, for now, I'll just set it in the stop mode. We can actually destroy it off. So now if you go down and check it out, our server will not be working anymore. Right, so it's not working anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch our AMI and test it whether it's perfectly fine or not. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and launch an instance using the AMI that we have just created, that is WordPress AMI, and then I'm going to select the T2 micro. In this case, we just need to put it in the AWS training VPC that is going to be part of 1.0. Subnet is going to be enable IAM role to be EC2 S3 admin role. Now I'm again going to put up a small bootstrap script. It's not going to be any more big. What is a bootstrap script? Let me explain you. So in this case, whenever my system is going to get lost, I'm just going to ensure that all the security patches get updated automatically, because AMI keeps changing every month on month. So there are some security patches, there are some security updates that come up to the system. So we need to update frequently. So we may use this command yum update -y, and also I'm going to use this another command, that is AWS S3 sync --delete. So I'm trying to get everything from this bucket which is having the code, right? So in this case, my bucket name is a little different, so I'll just copy it out. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Sorry. Right, so from my bucket, I'm going to always retrieve the latest code. Remember what is going to happen in the real time? This will be actually behind the auto scaling group. Now the auto scaling group can launch the instance at any point in time, and we need to always ensure that we have the latest code and it is always mapping with the nearby system which is already running. So that's the reason I have written this specific line, that is AWS S3 sync --delete, and get the complete latest code from this bucket to the var www/html. Remember why we use delete? So that if there are any changes which are being done at the source, that is here in this case is S3 bucket, automatically that will get updated towards the HTML directory as well, because this AMI is being created today. Let's say I'm going to use this server for 1 more year from today. So how is it going to work in the real time then? So it will have a lot of updates and the changes that will go through, right? That's the reason we use this -delete, so that to ensure whatever updates are there in the source, same also reflected in the destination. Let's quickly go and add the storage. It's going to be 8 GB of space with GP2, that is general purpose SSD drive for our root volume. And then I'm going to go and add the tags. I'll just say it as name WordPress test. So we're going to actually test it. We are not put behind the auto scaling group yet. So we're just testing the AMI whether it's working fine or not. I'm going to put it behind web server security group, and then quickly go ahead and launch this using one of the keys that I already have in this machine. So this time the server is going to come up very faster. It doesn't have much bootstrap script to run through. Now all I have to do is I'll just go down to the load balancer and attach this new instance. You should see that all the images, everything should come back from where we left it, because while taking the AMI, it would have picked up everything the way it was. So I'm going to add this new one, the word test. So it's going to check on the health of this instance. So in next 10 seconds, we should have this EC2 instance in service. There we go. Now if I go back and try for the AWS 2017.tk, it should be working fine. There we go. So it is now showing that AWS 10 2018, which is just another WordPress website, has got all the images, updates, and everything. So even if now I go ahead and try and open the image in new tab, you will see that everything is actually delivered from the cloud front as well. So our AMIs is working perfectly fine. All the things are perfectly configured. All the images, everything has been copied up exactly from the place where we have put it up in our S3 bucket, where we took the backup and saw that. So even if now any of the instances goes down, so we have checked it out how we can retrieve the latest code from the AWS training code bucket. So everything is now coming from this specific bucket, which is going to have the latest part. So we have successfully tested the AMI. Any questions until here from you, Rahul and Shiva, before we proceed to the last part? Okay, so the next part what I'm going to do is I'm also going to destroy this test instance as well, because I'm going to put it everything behind the auto scaling. So we don't need this anymore. So I'm going to destroy both the EC2 instances because our image is now perfectly fine. So I'm just going to terminate all the EC2 instances and quickly go down to our auto scaling. So that is the last part of our project where we are actually going to go ahead and create first our launch configuration and then the auto scaling group. So we don't have much in the last part here. So we are just going to test out how the auto scaling is going to work in the real time. And then we are also going to see what will happen in case of failure of RDS. Right? Since I said we are going to develop highly available fault tolerant system, so we are just going to check out the things whenever there is a failover, how do we manage it, right? So we also saw if there is a failover of someone going to the server and deleting my HTML folder, we can retrieve it back automatically. Now the cron tab job is going to automatically do the sync for me, right? So even if someone deletes this code from my website, it doesn't matter, it automatically can get it back at any point, and then it will be automatically self-repairing itself, right? Similarly, we are going to see if RDS fails over, what happens in this case. Since we are using multi-AZ, the failover will automatically happen to the standby database. So let's check out the last portion of this case project here. So I'm first going to create a launch configuration, and then we are going to create a auto scaling group. So I have some launch configuration. First, I'll go ahead and delete it, which is not required for me anymore. So I'll just go ahead here. I'll just do the actions and say delete. So this was created sometime in December. You see it here. Okay. So I'll go back to the auto scaling configuration, click on create auto scaling group. So it is first going to ask you to create a launch configuration. Let's go ahead and create it. It's very simple, nothing we have to do. Just go to the AMI. It's as same as launching an EC2 instance. So I'll click on WordPress AMI and then the T2 micro. And here I just need to give the name of my launch configuration. I'll just say WordPress LC. That is, LC stands for launch configuration. IAM role is going to be this one. And monitoring, we're not going to enable it because detailed monitoring, as we know, it's going to be costlier. And I'm going to ensure that we are going to put across this small bootstrap script so that every time it gets the latest code whenever this launch configuration is being used by the auto scaling to launch a new EC2 instance. And since we are trying to use our own VPC in this case, so I'm going to always say that assign a public IP address to every instance. In case you're using the default VPC, you can actually go with the first option. Since we are using our own VPC, we are going to say that assign a public IP address to every EC2 instance that is getting launched. And then next, add the storage. It's going to be 8 GB of size with general purpose SSD. And I'm going to go ahead and select the existing security group, that is web server. So we have to select the exact security group. See here, the RDS is basically a part of one AC, so I'm going to select this one, which is the correct security group. Right, it has got HTTP, HTTPS, and 22 port number opened up. Review. So this is my launch configuration. I'll quickly go ahead and put it behind the autoscaling group. So I'll select the key pair, that is Mumbai. So I'm going to give the name of autoscaling group as my WordPress ASG, and then I'm going to start with minimum 2 instances. That's fine for now. So automatically we are going to generate real-time failover as well, seeing if the load is increasing, what happens in this case. And here is the place where we are going to select our VPC. So this is the VPC that I'm going to make use of. It is AWS training, and inside this we know that the public subnet is 1.0, 10.0.1.0 bar 24, and the other one is 10.0.2.0 bar 24. So these are the only two public subnets, and in the advanced details I'm going to make use of one of the load balancers that we already have, that is a classic load balancer. I'll make use of it, and the health check is going to be conducted by ELB. Okay, rest of the options I'll leave it as is and go down to configure scaling policies. So here I'm going to say that minimum can be 2, maximum it can go up to 4 EC2 instances, and I'm going to go ahead and create the policies. So when it should increase and when it should decrease. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new alarm. So we are going to actually go ahead and create a new topic in this case, or we can make use of this WordPress ASG, which is already having my email configured. So this is going to be a part of WordPress autoscaling group itself. So whenever the average of CPU utilization is greater than or equal to 50%, I'm going to add one EC2 instance, right? So sorry, for one consecutive period of here, I'm just going to say 1 minute, because just we want to regenerate the real-time scenario in faster method. So just for now, I'm just going to keep it as 1 minute and say create alarm. So what is our alarm? So if CPU utilization is going to hit more than 50% for 60 seconds continuously, it is going to trigger a alarm. Now what should this alarm do? It should basically go ahead and add one EC2 instance. And similarly, when are we trying to decrease the group size? Let's go ahead and create an alarm. So whenever the average of CPU utilization is less than or equal to, let's say, 3% for one consecutive period of, I'll give it as 5 minutes for now, or maybe 15 minutes should be good here. I'm going to name this as low. The alarm name is going to be low CPU utilization. So whenever it is going to have a CPU utilization which is less than or equal to 3 for continuously for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, then we are going to remove one EC2 instance. Right, so that is our configuration of policies. So it can maximum go up to 4 EC2 instance, and minimum 2 should be always running. At what time I'm going to increase the group size and what time I'm going to decrease the group size are mentioned here. And next, I'm going to ensure that I get a notification every time whenever there is a launch of new EC2 instance, whenever there is a termination of instance, whenever there is a failure of an instance while launching, or as well as terminating. So I'm going to make use of this WordPress ASG itself again, and then I'll quickly go ahead and configure the tags. So I'll just say it as name my WordPress ASG, and then review it and create a auto scaling group. Now the servers will automatically be created, and those EC2 instances which are getting created are going to be automatically mapped to the load balancer, and we'll see that my server will be started working back again, right? So currently it's going to take a little while. So currently it is down. So we'll come back to the EC2 console and see that the two EC2 instances get launched. Right? So both the instances are up and running now. So it will be a little while. Both the instances automatically get added to load balancer. Health check will also pass. Let's see it out. So let's come down to the instances. There we go, both of them are in service. Now if I go back and refresh this server, so there we go, our AWS Training 2018 WordPress website is all set and ready. So people would never know what's happening behind the scene, whether there are two servers or one server, and there will be no downtime for this, right? So even if the heavy load comes in, auto scaling is going to act into while, and in any other case of failover of the RDS, since it is multi-AZ RDS system, automatically it's also going to take care of it. So we are going to test out few scenarios. One is about the auto scaling, whether it's really scaling up or not, and the second one is about the RDS. So let's go and check it out in this case. So the first thing we are going to do is simulate the scaling by stressing out the CPU. So I'm going to go ahead and log in into one of our EC2 instances, and then I'm going to run this command, that is stress minus CPU, and then give some numbers so that it's going to hog my CPU cycles. And then we'll see that the auto scaling group is going to add a new instance with the help of the launch configuration, which is mentioned for that, right? So let's go ahead and check it out. I'm going to go ahead and log in into one of my servers. So let's pick up the first one in this case here. So I'm going to pick up the Mumbai key pair and keep the font size a little better, and then open it up. So last one I can close it off. Yes. Login as EC2-user. So there we are. First elevate my privileges. So in the meantime, let me show you what we can, where we can actually track this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy these things. I'm going to go ahead and also open up the CloudWatch just to track the metrics. Okay, so I'm just going to go down to the metrics section, EC2. So first I'm going to select this one in the per instance. So I'm going to ensure that we are going to track the CPU utilization for this. So since we have launched the machine just now, it will not have anything yet. So it will get the parameters in a little while. So currently the CPU utilization, as we see, is around 3-4% itself. So if I keep even for the 5 minutes, it's going to be the same one. Now what we are going to do is we are going to hog the CPU cycles. It's very simple. It says stress minus CPU. I'm going to put it as, let's say, 200. So it's going to hog 200 CPU cycles for this. So now we'll see that in next 1 minute there will be a surge in this specific CPU utilization. So let me refresh it back again to see that there is a change in CPU utilization. Okay, I'll just change it to 1 minute here. Since we do not have the detailed metrics, it is actually going to send the logs only after 5 minutes. That's the only reason we do not see anything in here, the changes. So anyway, we have anyway set it for 1 minute. If it hits, it is going to actually go ahead and launch an instance, right? So we are just going to hog few more CPU cycles in this case as well. Again, I'm going to give this command, and then let's see what happens. Let me check out the email if we have received any notification. Yes, so it has sent some. Let's check it out. Okay, it has changed from 0 to 2 capacity, so it has sent me for that. So we'll have to wait for the one more new one to come through. Yeah, so now you see the CPU utilization is showing 65.8%. Let's check out what's happening at my EC2 console. It should get one new EC2 instance in no time. So my auto scaling group is going to add up a new EC2 instance. So let's wait for that to happen through. So now we can actually see that the CPU utilization has been hitting up around 65.8% here. So let's check out the email as well. We should have received a notification. Yeah, there we go. We have received a notification for the high CPU utilization, which is greater than or equal to threshold of 50. Right. So the first alarm has come through in. Right. So now let's go down and check out the EC2 section in this case. So there we go. You can see that the new EC2 instance is already up and running. It has been just added now because we can see that the status checks are initializing. And again, it's being launched by autoscaling group because we can see that the tags my WordPress ASG, which are being inherited from the autoscaling group. Right. So this is how we can see that in the real time, even though the load is going to increase on my system, the autoscaling group is going to help me out to ensure that automatically new instance launches, and this will be now again tagged to the load balancer as well. We can see it out in this case, and let's go down to the load balancer, and you will see that the third instance is automatically added up here as well. There we go. You see there are 3 instances and all 3 of them are in service, right? So even though now people come and try to access this web page, they'll be able to access it seamlessly without any problems. So we would never come to even know whether there was a heavy load or something as such, until unless it's a huge attack by one shot by 1 lakh or 2 lakh people, where my auto scaling group may take a little while for the instance to come up, right? So until then we'll not be able to see through any specific search. But if the users are increasing gradually, then in that case auto scaling can easily manage the things, right? And the one last scenario that I'm going to show you here is about the RDS. So I'll just go down to the RDS section and make it as a failover and show you what happens in that case. Since we are trying to use multi-AZ RDS, we should not have any problem with the web page not being displayed at all, right? So all the things which are available will be displayed as is. Let's see how I can do it. So here is my RDS. I'll click on this and then click on the instance actions and then say reboot, which means I'm trying to restart the database in this case. So it is going to ask me reboot with failover. I'll say yes. So it is itself giving me option that can I make it as a failover and check it out, right? So if I go back here and refresh the screen, so you can now see that the web page is again being displayed all across, right? So without any problems, we have been again able to access the web page, which means it is actually again going back to the failover, right? Standby database. Remember in RDS, whenever I create 2 databases, that is main primary and the standby. So the primary will be the one which we were using until now. Whenever it is going to fail over, automatically it is going to switch out its connections towards the standby database, right? So in that case, we will never be able to see any downtime from the database perspective on my website in this, right? So any questions or queries on this part of our AWS project here?